Alright everybody, this is Zack Rosen from The New Gay. I'm behind the camera. In front of the camera we have Brian Moylan from Gawker.
Zack is totally naked right now.
We're also doing a little experiment. We see how seriously Brian can take an interview while I'm naked, because this is Brian's idea.
Yes. So, well, I just like all the power I wield over you, Zack Rosen.
Oh, you wield nothing.
I just snap my fingers and they throw their clothes to the side.
My clothes just flew off. They're in the other room.
I know. It's like my magic power, my naked gun zap.
So nakedness aside, Brian, how are you today?
I'm doing well. How are you today, Zack?
I'm doing well, Brian. Thank you.
Is it drafty?
It's a little chilly.
Oh, I'm
just
sorry.
a little bit chilly. I'm sitting in a plastic chair. It doesn't help anything. Promise I'm a grower. So Brian, what is your title with Gawker?
My official title is staff writer, as bland as that sounds.
And how long have you been there?
About a year and 3 or 4 months. A little bit longer than a year.
Okay, and since Gawker seems to be at the apex of the blogosphere, I feel like, how does one actually get employed at Gawker Media?
Well, I had written for, I was writing for Next Magazine for homosexuals here in New York, and I was writing for some other blogs, and sort of got the attention of the powers that be at Gawker. And so when they had an opening for like a, so, you know, my beat tends to be, you know, gay stuff, entertainment stuff, things like that. So when they had an opening for somebody like that, they asked me to audition it with a number of other people. And so I did like 4 days on Gawker, and they liked me, they really liked me. And now here I am, you know, a million stories later.
Okay, and that's interesting, because I probably would not enjoy reading Next that much, but I do like reading Gawker. Do you see a difference in what you're able to cover?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, the thing that, yeah, I'd always worked in, like, specifically gay media before, and the great thing about Gawker is it's so general interest that I can do, you know, fairly anything I want, you know, and like, I come up with all sorts of crazy ideas and pitch them, and it's either great, go ahead, or no, that's stupid. But, you know, there's no, like, I don't have any constraints on, but I don't have many constraints on the kind of things that I can pitch. But it's also gay enough that I still get to do things about gay culture and civil rights and things like that that I also enjoy. And you know, it's night and day being on the web from being in a print magazine, because the whole packaging approach is totally different. Like, you're not worried about sidebars and so on and so forth, and you have commenters who are replying directly to you, and you see how many people are reading it, and so it's much more immediate, it's much more multimedia. You can have links. I love a link. It's very hard for me to write for print now, because I'm like, this should have a link right here.
Oh, exposition's so hard.
I know, it's like, oh, now I have to like explain this joke I'm making. Right. Oh, Jesus. But yeah, so I enjoy the freedom we get with Gawker, and also like to do things that are a bit more mainstream without being sort of explicitly gay.
Right. And the flip side of that, what's an example of something gay you got into written just wouldn't have flown at Next, but would work at Gawker? Because I know that, like, I enjoy reading Gawker, and I think it covers a broader range of the gay world. I
think that we're allowed to be a lot more critical at Gawker. Like, the voice of Next is a lot more sunny and sort of, you know, likes everything, which I don't think is necessarily a bad voice, but at Gawker I get to be a little bit more critical of gay culture, like, in general. Which, you know, there are some parts of gay culture that deserve a critique, either good or bad. So that's good, and it's less like nightlife, New York centric, and so, you know, I get to do more serious things, I get to do more silly things, so it's a sort of much broader range. And, you know, the internet being the internet, like, I have as much room as I want for pictures and words and things like that. So when, you know, you're writing for a magazine, there's always space constraints, time constraints, you know, things like that are make it a bit harder to negotiate than just, you know, writing something for a blog.
You just reminded me of 2 questions then. First being, where do you draw the line between being critical and being snarky? Like, a lot of blogs are just known, even sometimes Gawker, just that endless snark where the point is there, but I feel like the snark maybe sells it.
I really don't like the word, like, snark. Like, I think that snark denotes like kind of people who hate everything, and I don't think that's really true of myself or Gawker in general. Like, there are definitely things that I like, and there are definitely things that I post about that I really like, and but I still like Glee. I've been writing about Glee since it started, and at first, like, I loved it, and I would just gush about it, and then it sort of maybe went downhill a little bit, and so I was critical of it and saying, like, this wasn't good, you can do this to improve, so on and so forth. I don't think that's necessarily snarky, but I think it's critical, and I think it's good to be critical on everything, and to look at things and see that everything has good things about it and bad things about it. I think it's just that, like, sort of knee-jerk negativity towards everything, like a sort of nihilism, is not especially interesting. Like, oh, of course they hate it, they hate everything. Like, that's not what people are like. Like, people hate things and people love things. Right. And I think that drawing that out of people in a conversation, and seeing the good things about things that you hate and the bad things about things that you love, is a good skill. Because
a lot of people say, like, oh, someone complains about anything, they're just being some bitchy queen. Like, we don't actually have the ability to say we don't like things.
Right. Right, and I think that, as people get to know you and your voice and, your website or whatever it is, the vehicle that you're using, like, they'll appreciate that, your sort of level of taste and your level of criticism of things, and that, hating everything or liking everything gets a little boring.
And people stop believing you. Whoever
exactly.
Someone that hates or likes everything.
Right, like, I hate those movie critics where it's like everything is like, oh, this movie sucked.
Right.
Or they're just trying to be like counterintuitive, where it's like all the good movies they hate and all the crappy movies they love.
Like contrarianism movie reviewing.
Yeah, it's just like so like transparent, and I think, but at the same time, like, people want to read things with a strong opinion. Like, they don't want to read like, this movie was okay. Like, that's boring. Like,
it was fine.
Right. Yeah. It's, I guess, if you want, but, they want to hear either, like, you love it or you, like, hate it in a sort of funny, like, comical way. And I think that, the best critics out there, like the theater critics for the New York Times, like, even if you don't care about theater or live in New York, you should read them all, because they have that sort of clear-headedness, and they like things and they hate things, and their reviews are equally well written when they're trashing something as when they're praising something.
Cool. And if you could, what would your dream article for Gawker be?
Oh, I write a dream article for Gawker several times a week. Like, it's amazing that, like, stupid things I think up, and I'm like, I want to write a post about this. And then they let me, and, like, there are days where I just can't believe that I get paid to, write, 3,000 words about a Jersey Shore episode, or, some list of, like, the 10, I don't know, most annoying Christmas songs, or some other bullshit that I just sort of made up. So I guess that, I'm living the dream. So yeah, I don't know what it would be. Like, no one's ever really said no to me about something that I felt really strongly about. So I guess that is definitely a blessing.
Awesome. Well, Brian, you've done an admirable job talking to a naked man. Thank you for talking to the new gay.
Bye, guys.